is up, guys? This is your boy Adam with another episode of Average Guy Lifestyle, doing the retro collection. Now, as you guys know, we have went down the rabbit hole over the last while of collecting everything: video game, comic book, toys, action figures, all kinds of stuff like that. Things that we find at flea markets, yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, wherever we can find the stuff super cheap to add to our collection. I've also recently gotten me a vintage flea market booth at a local flea market to where I am selling off some of the extra stuff that I get and things like that. I haven't started doing the online sales, but this year I do believe is going to be different. We're going to start doing a little bit of the stuff on like eBay and platforms like that, getting rid of some of the duplicates and stuff that I find. So we have been collecting, and as you can see, we are here in the nerd room. We have the video game collection behind me, all kinds of stuff, everything from original NES all the way up to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, with everything in between sprinkled in. We have PS1, PS2, we have OG Xbox, we have Wii, Wii U, we have Game Boy Advance, Game Boy. We have everything, guys. And I have been thinking for a while, one of my favorite consoles of all time, which was the very first console I ever got when I was a kid, was the original NES. And I have always wanted a vast library of NES games. When I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to have NES, and I was able to amass a few games. I probably had about 30 or so games at one point before I finally got rid of my NES as I grew up a little bit more and kind of got out of it and moved on. So I have been collecting NES, fairly regularly since we have started this journey. And I have thought one of the things that I've always wanted to do is collect as many NES games as possible. So I have already started. Obviously, we have seen in past previous videos that I have picked up several NES games. So I'm actually going to start a series dedicated just to the NES. And this is something I've been wanting to do, and I will showcase new NES games that I'm going to add to the collection. And guys, we are going to go for as complete of an NES loose cart set as possible. And that is going to include the 5-screw variants, and any of the other major variants that I have, like maybe the the Blades of Steel, different cart colors, maybe even to go different cart colors of the Legend of Zelda, gray cart, gold cart. We'll probably include in all of that, and other stuff along the way. And then eventually we might even go into the unlicensed Nintendo games. So we are going to do just North American release. I'm not doing the Japan or any of the PAL versions, none of that. This is going to be just a North American release NES set. So, do you want to follow me down this journey that I am calling the NES Express? Come on, hop on this train with me as we try to collect all the NES games that I can come across. So, as of right now, we're starting off with, I'm going to tell you right now, I have currently up here above me 98 NES games. And that is all different games, with the exception of about 2 or 3 duplicates that I know I have. I know I have like a duplicate TMNT, but it is a different version TMNT in the fact that it's got different boards in it. One is the actual Nintendo license board. The other one is the Konami license board. So a little bit of variance. I have like the Duck Hunt, Mario, dual cart. I have like 2 of those. But, we have mostly all just single unique games. So we have 98 so far. Some of the more notable ones in my collection, let me look here. I did have it put up. I don't have a lot of big titles yet. I have mostly just been buying filler titles and stuff that I have came across buying some lots. I don't have any like super high valuable games. The majority of the higher dollar games I have will probably fall in like the $20 to $35 range loose. now according to price charting. So some of the more notable games that I do have is like Contra, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Super Mario 2, of course, Legend of Zelda, Battletoads, let's see, Mario 3, Beetlejuice, Ninja Gaiden 2, the Wrecking Crew 5 Screw. Some of the titles I have now, none of those are super, sought after titles, but some of the more, $20 to $30, $35 range titles that I do have, that's some of the higher ones that I have. And so we are adding more to the NES collection. Like I said, we are starting off as of right now with 98. So this is going to be the first episode of the NES Express here on Average Guy Lifestyle. I got my buddy Mikey here hanging out with me. He's going to help me go through. And guys, we went out again and went to New Wave Hobbies in Dixon. Now I know I showcase this place quite a bit, but it's one of the few places that I go to that actually has a decent selection of like random loose NES carts. And my buddy Kenny Long, the guy that runs the place, always hooks it up for me at a decent deal. Of course, he is a shop, so most of the prices he have marked at is at market value. Some of them even a little bit higher than market value on some games, but he usually always cuts me a deal. So I've got another stack of NES right here, all different ones that's going to be added to the collection. Let's run through real quick and see what I have picked up to begin with. To start off with, I have 2 copies of the trifecta, the original Mario Brothers Duck Hunt and World Class Track Meet. The reason why I bought 2, look at the label. Look at the difference. Do you see Mario up there? One is he's wearing red overalls, and the other one he's wearing white overalls. Now, I don't understand what the difference is in these, other than that label variant right there. I don't know what came with what. This one, you notice right here, does have the official Nintendo seal on it. This one does not. But that is the major difference right there. As you can see, Mario looks different. So I picked up both of those because I did not have the trifecta. I had Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and I also had just Mario Brothers by itself. I didn't have the trifecta. So I got both of these copies. I don't know if there's any other label variants in these or not, but that's cool pickup right there. He had these at $12 a piece. Of course, that is not what we paid for it, guys. We got us a good deal as always, and I will go over that at the end of this right here. Also, to go with it, we have 2 copies of Pro Wrestling right there. 2 copies of Pro Wrestling. But the reason why I got 2 is one is 5 screw and one is the 3 screw. So I am doing the 5 screw variants. So I already have several that's 5 screw, and I know there's a couple of them that were 5 screw only, that all they ever made was a 5 screw. So we will be trying to get all of them, plus with the 5, if it has a 5 screw variant, I want the 5 screw variant as well. So right there, 2 copies of Pro Wrestling, regular and 5 screw. Super cool on that. We also got Commando. Who remembers Commando? Commando. That was a cool game. It was super hard. He had this labeled at $10. Now, this whole set that I got was a little bit on. Last time I went, we bought a bunch of like the super cheap ones, which was like $4 and $5 games. Most of these games he had labeled at like $8 and higher. So $8 to like $15 on several of these games. So this is a little bit curving up on a little bit higher spectrum. So we also got, and I have such a horrible time pronouncing this, super awesome game, but how do you pronounce it? Astyanax? Astyanax? I cannot think of how you pronounce it. Super cool game. I do remember playing this as a kid. Love that game. We got 3D World Runner. Remember that game. And then this one was a good one. $15 marked on this. Don't really remember this game much, but I do watch a little bit of how it goes. It looks kind of interesting. Load Runner. Load Runner. Kind of cool. Dig that. And then this is one that everybody should know. If you collect on any system, Metal Gear. Had this labeled at $15. Now, this is one of the ones I know price charting doesn't have it at that high. I think price charting only has it at like 12 or so. But guys, remember, $15 is not what I paid for this. I got a deal as a bundle deal because I bought so many. We got Cobra Triangle. We got Bases Loaded 3. I already have Bases Loaded and Bases Loaded 2. So here is Bases Loaded 3. Super iconic game. I remember playing this as a kid. I remember getting this game, and it was, for me, it was hard. It was a hard game. But who remembers? RoboCop. RoboCop. He had this, was $10. We also got Solar Jetman. Solar Jetman. However you want to say it. Jetman, Solar Jetman. Yes, I remember that game. We also have Iron Sword, which is the Wizards and Warriors Part 2. Iron Sword. I already do have the original Wizards and Warriors, so we have Wizards and Warriors Part 2, Iron Sword. Mission Impossible. Who remembers Mission Impossible? I remember Mission Impossible. This is one of the few games that I got that he had, and it had this a sleeve on it and had the manual with it for $10, and that is Lunar Pool. Lunar Pool. Now, I used to love pool games on the NES. Lunar Pool, I cannot remember if Lunar Pool was one that I played or not. There was another pool game that I do remember playing. I used to play all the time, and it might have been Lunar Pool. I cannot remember. I'll have to double check and see. I have not played a lot of these games in a very long time, guys. Let's keep going, man. Section Z. Section Z. I honestly don't remember this game at all. So, looking forward to checking this out. Now, all these games are authentic and should be tested. Kenny always authenticates and checks his games. So, I'm not worried about as far if these games are legit or not, because I trust Kenny, and I will always go back through and double check them. Of course, I'll always probably test them, and if they don't work, I'll clean them and clean them up a little bit. We have roller games. Roller games. Who remembers roller games? This is one you don't see a lot. I don't see it out, especially in the wild, and that is Platoon. Platoon. Who remembers Platoon? I played that. We have Top Gun Part 2. Top Gun 2, which is the second mission. The second mission with, Top Gun and everything out, man. That was a cool find. I had Top Gun. That was actually one of the games that I played a lot. I actually did own that in my original collection when I was a kid, was the original Top Gun. Don't think I ever played the second mission, though, so I'm looking forward to that. We have Karate Champ. Karate Champ. We have Codename Viper. Don't remember this game either. Now, there's a lot. I only had X amount of games when I was a kid. Like I said, I only was maybe exposed to maybe about 40 or 50 games when I was a kid on the original NES. And there's well over 670 something licensed NES games for the US. 677, 678, somewhere around in that. There's a couple variations. People argue about how many licensed games there really are. I'm not sure what number I'm going to go for, but I know somewhere in the 670 era is what is licensed NES, and then I know there's at least another almost 100, if not better, unlicensed NES games. So, if we do even that, we're looking at probably almost 800 games altogether. I only got to play maybe about 40 or 50 different ones when I was a kid, so there's a lot of NES games that I had no idea about, never played, and now I'm going to try to get them, and we're going to play them. Kung Fu. Now, this is a game I did have as a kid. I used to love Kung Fu. Controls were horrible. The hitbox on it was horrible, but I used to play Kung Fu all the time. I remember this game so very well. And then we got just a standalone copy of Duck Hunt. Just Duck Hunt by itself. It's one I didn't ever see. Duck Hunt, I had it. But I had it on I actually had the trifecta when I was a kid. That was the game I had. I had World Class Track Meet, Duck Hunt, and Super Mario Brothers. That was where I had Duck Hunt. And then I also used to see the Super Mario Brothers and Just Duck Hunt. Twofer on one thing. I never saw Just Duck Hunt. Just Duck Hunt on a cart by itself. So to me, that's kind of odd. Just to have Duck Hunt as a solitary single game. It's kind of cool. We also have Bionic Commando. And then to round out this list right here, we have Rescue the Embassy Mission. Rescue the Embassy Mission. I don't really remember that game either. So, lots of cool games there. This is the entire stack right here of NES. Ba-boom, that stack. Ba-boom. And ba-boom. Yeah, guys. This is 26 NES games that we are going to get to add to the collection. I already had 98 NES games, and now we're adding 26 more for a grand total of 124 current loose NES games in the collection. Now, I actually do have about 4 or 5 other ones that I'm not including in because they are in my booth. It was some that I did have some duplicates of. They're in my booth selling, which was like NES Play Football and another copy of Mario Brothers, stuff like that. I had a couple copies of that. And so I'm not counting those. And I'm also, as of right now, not counting the unlicensed games because I only have one unlicensed NES game, which is Super Sprint, I do believe, is the only unlicensed Tengen Black Cart, NES game. That's the only one that I have that I'm not counting that in this list as well, even though it is up there. But that is 26 new NES games to add in onto the collection. So 124 total that we are counting in the collection. This is the start of the NES Express here on Average Guy Lifestyle, of going down the rabbit hole and trying to collect as many NES loose carts that I can. I want loose carts because, for one reason, finding box stuff around here is like trying to find a needle in a haystack, guys. It's not out there. I see, and even at like some of the shops around here, just within halfway close, within an hour or so drive of where I live, I only see maybe 1 or 2 box NES here and there every so often, and they usually have them priced so high that I'm not worried about it. And I have none. I have 0 big goose egg boxed NES in my collection. Now, I will go for like this and get some with a sleeve and have the manual, which I will try to go back through, and I will try to get manuals for as many of these games as possible and put them in dust sleeves, dust covers like this, because I actually have quite a few of these dust covers. So as time goes on, I will do that. So at least I'll have, loose cart with manual and a dust cover, and I am totally okay with that, because that's actually how I used to keep them when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't think to keep the box these games came in, but I did used to keep my games in a dust cover like that, and if I had the manual, I would keep it like that. So this is nostalgic for me. This is the way I want to do it because this is the way I did it when I was a kid. So yes, guys, what do you think about that? We are adding so many NES games to the NES collection, and I am super pumped. And I got every single one of these games from New Wave Hobbies in Dixon, Tennessee. My buddy Kenny Long up there always hooks it up. So to go over what we got right here, if sticker price that he had on all those games right there, those 26 games, was $235. That's what he had it marked at. That is not what I paid. He gave me all those games for $200 flat, which is not a super great deal, but he always hooks it up for me, guys. Don't think that that was all that he gave me. So that was all I had intentions of buying. I was going to buy more filler NES for my NES collection. So $235 sticker price he gave to me for $200 flat. Out the door, no taxes. I paid cash because I usually pay cash with him, and he hooks it up. As I'm walking out, he always likes to surprise me with a gift. And guys, I couldn't be happier. Once again, Kenny is the man. Everybody knows that TMNT is one of my favorite cartoons and stuff to collect, as always. Mikey would agree that we love TMNT around here. So as I'm walking out the door, he's like, oh yeah, you like TMNT? He said, man, I got something for you. And I was thinking, you know, what could it be? He usually always gives me little oddball stuff, whatever. Last time, if you saw last video, he gave me a DVD 3-pack of TMNT that had a cool box sleeve cover and everything. I was super happy about that. But guys, you will not believe what he handed me across the counter was an original giant Donatello from 1989. The giant Donatello. This thing is actually in pretty decent shape. It's got a couple of little scuffs on it and stuff, and he is obviously missing his belt and his weapon and everything, you know. But it's Donatello, guys. And no offense, Mikey, I love you, buddy. You're my boy. But Donatello has always and will always be my favorite TMNT figure. Donatello was my favorite. Mostly because when I was a kid, anything could be turned into a bow staff and I could be Donatello. I could pretend to be Donatello. I remember very well when I was a kid playing in the front yard with a big stick or a broom handle or something, and I could always be Donatello, flinging the bow staff around, you know. Donatello was the man. I could always be Donatello, and I love Donatello to this day. Donatello is my favorite character. And of course, obviously, if you played the original TMNT, the first one on NES, Donatello was the best character because he had the furthest hit reach span on there. So anyways, he gave me this, guys. Gave me this for free as a gift because he's my buddy. Guys, y'all have no idea how much this means to me. I want to collect all of the giant original TMNT figures. You know, all 4 of the Turtles, and to get like Bebop and Rocksteady that is a part of one of my goals as well, to collect all these. I have the giant Slam Dunkin' Don, which is a very expensive figure that I found at a flea market for 15 bucks, guys. And that is like a $200 to $400 figure. Does not have the ball with him, but he's in good shape and everything. So I found that. That is one of my other giants, but now I have this. This is the other giant that I have. This is an original. This is not one of the new Playmate remakes. If y'all have noticed, they have came out with the new giant turtles again that I think are exclusive at Target. I have not seen them yet, but I've seen them online posted about it. I ain't into that. I wouldn't mind having them, but I want the originals, guys. This is super awesome. Even missing the belt and his weapon, I love it. Kenny at New Wave Hobbies hooked it up, man. This is super awesome. This is going onto the turtle shelf. Mikey approves. Mikey approves. We love our turtles. Guys, thank y'all so much for coming along on this journey. I did not add up to see what the value of these 26 NES games that I have right now is. So I'm not really, you know, too worried about what the value of just these games are. I will tell you this, because I do have it brought up on price charting right over here. That my current, let me see here, my current value in just NES games with these added. Now I did add these into my price charting already to add to the collection. So I have a total of 124 NES carts in the collection, all loose. As of right now, the value of my loose NES, all those NES right there and the ones you just saw right here, current value according to price charting is $1,297 value of what the value of all these are according to price charting right now. So that's where we're at as of right now. $1,297 in NES loose cart cartridges with 124 carts. Now, like I said, I haven't been able to come across any super rare, awesome titles. There's no, you know, Bubble Bop 2 or, you know, Little Samson, or let's say, what is it? What is that one? Tomato. There's a tomato game. I have to look again to see what it is. Some tomato land, or I cannot think of the name of what it is, but they're high dollar games. We're talking several hundreds dollar loose NES games. We have not got any of those yet in the collection. I'm still looking, still trying to buy collections from friends of mine and people finding stuff out at flea markets, yard sales, and all that good stuff. But I do like to go to the stores and pick up, you know, um, the filler titles to add to the collection. So guys, that's it. Going to add these to the collection. We're going to extend that out right there. And thank you so much for coming along with me on the NES Express here on Average Guy Lifestyle. Come check it out. Stay with me. Follow along. If you like this video, do me a favor. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future videos. And as always, peace.